What's up, guys? I want to give you a quick message before we get into today's video. If you are going to be in the Southern California area or anywhere near Temecula this Saturday, April 28th, then head on down to Temecula and check out CamaroCon. There are going to be hundreds and hundreds of Camaros taking over the parking lot in what is going to be a really fun car show. And I'm going to be there, of course, with the car you're about to see in this video. I will be hanging out at the Fast Tech booth. So I'd love to meet you guys. If you're going to be in the area, come on by, say hi, and see some really cool cars, ones that definitely make mine look like a chump. All right, enough of that. I'm gonna go ahead and get started with the video. Hey, what's up, guys? JayzTwoCents here, and I'm bringing kind of a bonus video about cars and stuff, things that interest me other than tech. So if you're not into that sort of video, then this is probably not the one for you. What's up, guys? JayzTwoCents here, and you may or may not know this, but I actually bought a new car. You guys know I had Nizzy, my 370Z Nismo. I still have that car, and it's still a track car, but I bought something new. And I've been tracking it, and I think it's finally about time I make a video about it. Meet Ellie, my ZL1 1LE. Get it, Ellie? So I'm that guy that runs in the Nissan Challenge with my Camaro. It's all good. Unfortunately, as with normal track days, somebody always has an issue. This car is still trying to get out on track. It's got a bad alternator. Normally not a problem. The problem is the way Nissan installs the alternator. On the bottom of everything, under brackets, you gotta remove belts, you gotta remove hoses, you gotta remove all sorts of shit. GM, on the other hand, puts the alternator on top. It takes 5 seconds, but yeah, we've literally got 4 guys here right now trying to get this alternator out because it's a shit show in terms of what's required. So if you've been following me on social media, you guys know that I take my car to the track, the 370Z. It's all purpose-built, MCA suspension, real high-end stuff. Nothing rep on that car, all legit. And I take it to tracks like Chuckwalla, Willow Springs, and I wanted to step it up. And there's one car that I always said I really wanted to own ever since it was announced last year. And I bought it. Now I understand this is a bit of a low budget video, but that's why this is sort of just me and you guys talking at the top of Azusa Canyon up here on the tabletop, talking about this car, because I have already tracked this car twice. If you guys have been following social media, like I said, you've already seen pictures of it. You kind of seen pictures of me tracking it. And that's what this car was built for. I'm not the kind of guy that can buy something that was meant for something and not use it for that purpose. I don't buy trophy cars. I don't buy things to sit in the garage. I bought this. I did the break-in. And I actually rolled over the miles to finish the break-in at the track. So we took it to Chuckwalla. We did an amazing session at Chuckwalla, all 4 sessions. Car performed beautifully. Took it to Buttonwillow yesterday, which was Sunday. If you guys are watching this now, Sunday, April 8th, we took it to Buttonwillow. Of course, I had my coach, Stephen Doherty. I'm going to put a link to his channel in the description below. He is 2012, I think it was, GT Academy winner. He is my coach. He's been teaching me everything I know about driving right. We'll put it that way, driving the car right. And he's going to talk a little bit in this video too about the car. But let's just say that this thing is an absolute monster. If you don't know what this is a ZL1 Camaro that has basically an LT4 supercharged 6.2 liter with a 1.7 liter Eaton supercharger on it that was pulled out of the Z06 Corvette transplanted into the Camaro with a Tremec 6-speed and an ELSD, Multimatic spool valve shocks, everything on this car built for the track. The tires on the front are Goodyear Eagle Supercar F1 3Rs, which are a 60 treadwear R compound or race compound tire formulated specifically for this. Sorry, I'm changing hands, but formulated specifically for this car. 305/30/19 in the front, 325/30/19 in the back. And I've already burned up the fronts. That was a bad toe alignment and whatever. I digress. We fixed it for Button Willow, and obviously it performed well. In terms of power though, factory at 650 horsepower, 650 torque. I did stage 1 like immediately, bumping that up to 700 and about 715. We're currently doing a stage 1.5 this month, which is going to bring it up to closer to 750 and almost 800 torque. That is a monster. More power is never a problem, and I've been able to handle this power on track absolutely no problem whatsoever. In fact, this car's got way more than I'm able to give it. Stephen Doherty took it out on track. I let him drive a whole session with it. He was a GT3 GTR driver for factory Nissan, drove in IMSA and some of the most world famous tracks, and I wanted his opinion on it, and that's what we'll talk about. Okay, so this is Stephen Doherty. You guys might remember I did a video with him when he took me out for my first track day back in November of 2016. Wow, it's been a while. Obviously things have improved. So I'm gonna let you talk for a second. Like I told them, I let you drive for a whole session on this, 25-minute session or whatever. And you, to preface this, don't like GM.
Yeah, I've never been a fan of GM cars. I grew up around like circle track racing where pretty much everything is GM. So you'd think I would be a big fan, but pretty much all American cars I just never really liked for whatever reason. So I've always stuck to Japanese cars, Nissans, right? Like, yeah, that's kind of
how we met, through the Nissan Challenge group.
Exactly, but yeah, I mean, this thing, they definitely are light years ahead of the older Camaro stuff. Like, even the interior, you can still see some little plasticky yeah, cheap GM stuff, but
there's a lot of Alcantara.
Yeah, a lot of Alcantara, which I think kind of
seats that are
the Recaro seats
that are great for the street. But you do move around in them a bit in the track.
Yeah, once you get a helmet on, the headrest pushes your head a little forward. And I mean, this thing is such a monster. The G-forces are just throwing you around too. So
yeah. So what are your thoughts then on the setup? Because remember, this is with the exception of flipping the camber plates 180, which is a feature of the car. It's all the stock Multimatic spool valves. It's the stock. Although the last session wasn't the stock front tires, I burned them up. You guys probably saw on Twitter me looking for tires last minute. We had some mostly burned up Supercar 3Rs in the back, mismatched compound, but you still sent it. So how do you feel about the way the car is set up?
Yeah, the engineering that they did behind this car is incredible. Like, to see that level of engineering out of an American car it's good, it's refreshing. But man, they have done so much of this car. Like, the dampers are amazing. The only way you're going to get dampers that good is to have a $500,000 or $1 million race car, you know?
Yeah. The dampers are probably a good chunk of the price of this car.
Yeah.
To be honest.
I would think they're at least like a $10,000
I wouldn't be surprised.
On their own. So
you hear everyone complain on the street, you know, the car and driver reviews, you know, and road and track, they complain that it's too rough for the road, for the street. It's kind of funny how that's true, right? It's not something you're going to fall asleep in. But on the track, it
really comes to life.
Yeah.
And it makes the car all come together and makes sense.
Because the last thing you're thinking on the track is this is rough. Because it's not.
Yeah.
It's perfect. And the dynamic adjustable, you know, that's what the spool valve is all about. It dynamically adjusts. It has a completely different damper rate at slow speeds versus high speeds, which meant when I'm curbing something at 110 miles an hour, it's not throwing you up out of the car.
Yeah, it absorbs the bumps really well and doesn't translate it to the entire chassis moving.
Yeah.
So it soaks those up extremely well. The platform stays nice and level. And man, it's really, like I said, refreshing to see this level of engineering on an American muscle car, basically.
What about the aero? Because GM's not really known for aero.
Right. And like, you know, I've raced some GT cars and done some prototype testing and stuff like that with real downforce. Obviously, it's not going to be to that kind of a level.
It's no LMP car.
Right. But The thing I think you can feel the most is the fact that it's not actually lifting. Like a lot of production cars have lift, believe it or not, at speed. So this might only make a little bit, but it really helps.
It's like, that plus the lack of lift that's giving you the true downforce.
Exactly. So your brake zones,
because the downforce isn't fighting the lift.
So your brake zones are way more stable. You can brake harder later. At speed, the higher speed corners, the car stays nice and planted. Like you said earlier, I'm not a big fan of American cars, but maybe this starts to change that.
Anyway, guys, yeah, so he's got a channel. It's called That Racing Life. I'll put a link in the description below. He talks a lot about his circle track racing that he does, like extreme budget racing. People think like you have to have a shit ton of money to go racing. You don't. Steven really shows that, but you also want to see some onboard ride-along stuff with the real high-end. He's got that too, so there's a link down below if you guys want to check that out. 1LE stands for the Track Pack. That's their MPO code. So basically 1LE is available on the LTs, the SSs, obviously the ZL1s, and that basically means it's got a lot of track-oriented upgrades to it. So in this, it shares the exact same six piston front brakes as the ZL1, same 4-piston rear brakes. Obviously they're Brembo, 390mm rotors in the front, huge rotors, but it has something significantly different than the other Camaros, and that is aero. You'll notice the big canards on the front. It's got a bigger splitter on the front, the same side splitters you'll find on the standard ZL1, but it's got a large high-rise carbon fiber rear spoiler that the ZL1 standard doesn't have. It's overall the same shape. The ZL1 sits more like on the lid of the trunk, but this actually brings it up better into the airflow. There's not a whole lot of difference you can tell on the outside. Obviously there's different wheels. They're 19-inch wheels instead of 20s, which you find on the standard ZL1. They're much wider. They're 19 by 11 in the front, 19 by 12 in the rear because of the size of the tires that are on this. But something else I did to the car that I forgot to mention is I did do a muffler delete. Doing a full exhaust on this car is not something that really picks up a lot of power, but the stage 1.5 that we're doing picks up power because of the overdrive pulley for the supercharger. It's already got a ported throttle body. It's already got the cold air intake. Or not the cold air, it's called the cold air intake, even though it's under the hood. It's just a larger intake diameter, and where it picks up the air is a bit more free-flowing versus the standard airbox, which is about quieting down the supercharger. So the first thing you'll notice on this car that makes it, that you can tell something's been done, at least to the intake, is the fact the supercharger is so loud. It's also going to have long tube headers, which is a part of the stage 1.5, and so that's going to really open up the airflow. So we're going to be overdriving the supercharger by 10%, putting in the long tube headers, which open up the exhaust flow, so the pressure actually comes back down, but the CFM goes up. So that's why we're going to be making more power that way. But man, I got to tell you right now, when it comes to the capabilities of this car, I never wanted to own another Camaro. My first track car I ever owned, we'll call it track car. It was literally just a shitbox Camaro, to say the least. It was a 1992 Camaro Z28. Didn't even have the 5.7 liter, the 350. I had a 5.0 liter, which is basically taken out of one of their old ass trucks back then, the 1500 trucks, made no power, 220 horsepower to the crank, which was hard to get a car made out of steel to get going. Now, obviously you guys deserve a much more better produced video about this, but we did a nice drive today after 2 track days. I just wanted to share the car with you guys because all the support of you guys have made stuff like this possible. A lot of you have shared interest in seeing more about car stuff, track stuff, my track experience, the guys I do track with. And I want to let you guys know we are actually starting another channel that's going to be focused on that. But not just myself, the group of guys that I track with are all going to be a collective on this channel. So this is going to be a group channel covering all sorts of different things. Everyone's got a different path. Everyone has a different background, a different budget. And we're going to be covering everybody's journey into this. The guys that are beginners, Nick's a part of this, definitely as a beginner, all the way to Stephen Doherty, who has driven some of the highest horsepower / track oriented cars that you possibly can on the most iconic tracks in the world. So we've got a huge range of experience that this is going to be about. There's a lot of car channels out there on the internet. Most of them are focused on either me, or show cars or drift, which is all right. But I don't think there's enough guys out there representing grip, which is exactly what we are doing. Drag racing has a huge showing. Drift has a huge showing, but where's grip? So that's what we're gonna be doing. No, I don't have a link for you today, but trust me, when it's ready, that link will be shared, and hopefully you guys will come on over and follow our experiences on that. But guys, I'm gonna go. Thanks for kind of watching this little vlog. I know that car stuff isn't for all of you, but there's a lot of tech in cars, and that's why I have underestimated the amount of you that are also into cars and tech, because I guess they definitely go hand in hand. Especially the amount of tech in this car to keep you from killing yourself when you put your foot down and it's not ready to go straight and it wants to go sideways, and there's a lot of tech that'll keep you from doing that. We're also doing something with Audi. There's a TTRS that I currently have my hands on right now too, and we're gonna be doing some cool videos about Audi's tech going on in their cars, so make sure you guys check that out. Anyway, like I said, we're gonna go. Thanks for watching, guys. If you wanna know more about this car, head on over to Twitter. There's tons of pictures, Instagram as well, and some of the behind the scenes track stuff can be seen over there. So guys, I'll see you in the next one. Thanks for watching.